Hello traders, today is Thursday, December 12th, 2024. As per usual, please keep in mind this content is not financial advice, it's for educational purposes only. Make your own decisions and research before you decide to risk your capital in any type of investments. Let's start the video with AFRM. I haven't mentioned AFRM in a few days already, and the reason for that is because nothing really much is happening here. Now we are calling up a little bit here. We're consolidating, I would say, but it looks a little bit bearish in my opinion. I wouldn't mind if, as I said the last time I mentioned a firm, which was back on actually 2 days ago, that I wouldn't be surprised if we go back down towards 61.5, 61.6, and at that point you're probably going to be very close to the 35 SMA. You're basically going to be at support over here. If you break support, you can continue going down. Now you have very low liquidity in this area, but you also have liquidity to the upside. Now this resistance level is becoming a little bit stubborn, I would say, and but we'll see how this behaves. I think we still have to give this a little more time. I think the best case scenario should be, or in my opinion, coming down towards 61, retesting this level, and then moving up towards 71 and maybe beyond that point. That would be, amazing. That would be awesome. But it still needs a little bit of time. And the reason why I'm a little bit bearish on this setup right now is because the MACD and the TSI are already looking bearish. They are diverging from the signal lines. The RSI is already pointing down and it's on its way to 50. Now this idea can get completely invalidated if we have a strong day tomorrow and we break resistance and then we continue going up. Now let's take a look at what would be our next level. And our next level is probably this area right here, where you have this gap right here and this week right on February 2022, which is, I didn't check on the price on that, is around 84. That would be very, very nice. Now, the price right now is 68, so you would have a move all the way towards 84. But let's clean this up a little bit. There's a lot of, but at least for now, let's just keep an eye on 61.6 as resistance and 61.6 as support, and which, to be honest, I think, and again, I could be wrong, that there is where we are possibly going, and also resistance, which is also critical at 71. Let's move on to AMD. I mentioned AMD yesterday, and one of the things that I said was that I had a position on AMD. So this is what I did today. Let's go to the 5 minute. Or let's go to the 1 minute, because there was a quick trade that I did. And right on this area, I was already green. I got out on one of these two candles. I think this red candle right here, I was selling already. Now this went up a little bit more, and then sellers came back in, and then you actually had some, let's go back to the 5 minutes so we can see this in a more compressed way. Geez. Okay. Then you had sellers coming on in the case of that, the 5 minute chart, we were navigating the 200 SMA, we went over the 35 SMA, and then we closed the day on top of the 325 SMA. That was great. But what I did was somewhere around this area, or maybe this area, I'm not sure, but somewhere around here, I did buy more calls. The reason why I bought or I sold my calls this morning was because my calls were, I believe, April calls, and I thought that was a little bit too close to what I want to do with AMD. And we had AVGO earnings coming today, which we are going to discuss later. And so what I said was, like, I want to limit my risk, sell here green, and then get back in somewhere when, we see a bottom on the chart, and then buy a different date. So I end up buying June 20th calls, and I going to build up on this position for the next maybe tomorrow and maybe Monday as well. So I'm gonna increase my position. I have a small position right now, and I'm gonna increase my position as we go. Now AMD is right up here now again, and this is due to AVGO's results after earnings, which, by the way, I should probably post something about AVGO. I haven't, but I'm probably gonna post something on X. The link is on the. I will leave a comment with the link for my X account, and it's also that link is on the description as well. But anyways, this is probably gonna make. Let's go to the daily chart. We are right now here where you see this very thin blue line. I think if we break 34, we're gonna have a nice move towards a 35 SMA. Once we encounter the 35 SMA, we're going to be in this volume shelf, and then there might be some resistance on this area. Just keep that in mind. But I think if momentum comes in, we are definitely going to go towards 150. By June, I think this stock should be much higher to where it is right now. So my calls should be actually performing, and I'm planning to hold these calls for as much as I can possibly hold them. So I'm not promising anything to myself, but I think if I see enough of a profit, I would sell them, even if that is next month or whatever, or 2 weeks, who knows. But at least I have them. June, the decay on these contracts is very, very small, so I feel more comfortable. And anyways, we didn't go down all the way to 121, which was my prediction, but that is still in play. And that is why I enter a position, a very small position, and I want to see how things develop between resistance right here and support as well, right here at 121. If we get to 121, I would get more contracts and wait for this move. And those contracts would probably be September contracts or something, but we'll see how this goes. AMD, again, your resistance level, critical level, 134. And your support level, which is still in play, in my opinion, it is 121. Now let's move on to a name that is sitting up very nicely, and that is ARM or ARM. And just look at this setup. And you have this trend line right here, and now you can have a symmetrical triangle, whatever the hell you want to call. I just rather put one line. I don't like to confuse my thought process with all kinds of lines and indicators or anything. I already think I have too many indicators going on the chart, to be honest. Anyways, we went over the 200 SMA. We are over the 35 SMA. We went over this trend line, and now we're right under resistance at 151. Now, what happened after earnings? Now you're right up here. You're going to open somewhere around this area, already on top of support. ARM is up 2.64% after hours. That's something to keep in mind. So we're probably going to continue the trend tomorrow. I think this setup is going to bring us more green days. This is beautiful. And let me take a quick note on ARM, because it's probably going to be one of my main focuses for tomorrow and maybe the beginning of next week. You would probably have, let's find an area of support, or I'm sorry, of resistance. Let's get this out of here. I don't see much here. I feel more comfortable with this week right here. Right there. So we're probably going to encounter, and it actually matches this area with this volume area, which is not very prominent, but it's enough volume, which is good. I think it's good. 161 is your next level of resistance. Now, keep in mind, you're going to open if this percentage continues after the bell, and or after, by the end of I guess, after hours, and the time, right before we open. I do believe that we're just going to move very nicely into 161, and if we break, we are probably going to hit all-time highs, which I want to put Okay, you have this level right here. Okay, I just found another level. This makes more sense because it's previous all-time highs. And look at that, this works perfect. It works perfect with this candle right here. Okay, so it's basically 64, it's a little bit higher, which is actually even better. And then after that, you're probably gonna hit all-time highs. This is looking fantastic. MACD and TSI, I'm excited about this. Hopefully we have a continuation of this move tomorrow, which I think we will. I think AMD is also gonna do pretty decent tomorrow. I could be wrong. And AVGO, obviously, AVGO is up 15%, which is the next name I'm gonna mention. MACD and TSI on ARM is looking pretty good. RSI is also good. They are not extended. They're just not overbought. Tomorrow is going to be a good day for everybody who is going to be trading the sector. Now, let's move on to AVGO. And, well, I just mentioned earnings were positive today. And look at this. You know, we had this round bottom right here. It didn't break. Then you have this baby one right here. Now you can see a cap and handle and everything that some people like to mention. But now we are right up here. We are up 14% after the earnings report, which I'm going to check and post a detailed report on X. Anyways, here is where we are. I think that this is gonna push the sector tomorrow. I think the semi sector is going to be the sector to trade at least tomorrow and maybe Monday or maybe for the rest of next week. We'll see what we get, but this was pretty impressive. Now, tomorrow, the RSI, the MACD, and the TSI are going to look pretty extended. Keep that in mind. And don't be surprised that after you open, maybe sellers come back in and you come down towards, and we see that sometimes, towards resistance. But I do think that now we're going to start generating a new area of obviously resistance. I'm sorry, of support, but also resistance at new all-time highs, whatever that price is when we open tomorrow. This is just looking good. I think, especially the first 30 minutes of trading, this sector is going to be pretty strong for either direction. But I tend to think that it's just going to move to the upside rather than the downside. And so we got 14 right now. It's at 14.3%. After hours, let's go to a 4-hour. I just want to see that candle, and look at that, bada bing, bada boom. Isn't this nice? These levels work beautiful. This line should be a little bit higher though, but not this line, the blue one. But look at this, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We'll see where we open tomorrow. It's obviously, in my opinion, gonna open green, and but this is just going to push the sector. We'll see how we behave tomorrow. We'll see what happens next week, but this is not bad news at all. Okay, let's talk about CAVA, and I did post something about CAVA yesterday, not last week, yesterday, and one thing that was catching my eye was first of all, we broke the 35 SMA with momentum, and we haven't done that in a while since this area right here, and you had a nice sell-off towards August 5th. Other than that, you broke the 35 SMA to the upside, and then you have been navigating this indicator for a minute. Now you have this prior all-time highs at 110 and some change, and now today we broke under that. You are on a volume shelf. I think if you go a little bit under this, you're just gonna go straight to 110. This company, in my opinion, is overvalued. I think this move is definitely just justified, and I wouldn't be surprised if this actually goes down towards 10, or actually under not towards 10, towards 110, and definitely or probably under 100. At that point, you're probably going to meet the 200 SMA, and we'll see what happens. But for now, let's just keep an eye on this resistance level, which was support as of yesterday. This resistance level at 120, 125. Gee, I'm wearing my glasses and I still can see. 125. And this new support level at 110. interesting. I think this definitely has more juice to continue going down, but we'll see how we behave after we cross this volume shelf that we have between where we are right now at 125 and somewhere around 122. Now let's talk about this name that a lot of people are talking about again, and that is Celsius. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind if this thing actually starts moving back to the upside. That would be fantastic. Now, what I keep saying on X is that I don't think it's a good idea, and I said this before in a couple of on a video that I mentioned Celsius a couple of days back. For me, at least, it's not tradable until we cross 35.5, 35.7. That's a level that I have, but let's call it 35.5. And the reason for that is because you got rejected here. First off, it was support at one point. You got rejected here quite a few times after, very strong runs, especially this one right here. And you got rejected, and then you went down to support at 26 or 27, let's call it, and then you were actually under that support level. Now, let's see if there's more rejections on this level right here. No, let's just keep it more current. Now, one of the things that I find interesting here is that back in the beginning of October, when you had this move that was, I think, 6% and then 14% or something. Yeah, about 20% total. And then you had these candles really trying to break on resistance. One thing that happened here is that you couldn't hold the 35 SMA. It was very precarious, as you can see here. Like, it was like surfing on it with red candles, and then it actually went down, and then you continue going down towards support, towards this support line, and then under. Okay, but this time you got rejected here, came back down to support, and then you mounted on Monday, and now you are solid on the 35 SMA. Now, that is what is different now than compared to what we had in the beginning of October. That being said, I still want to see momentum breaking 35.5. Now, you do what you want. I'm not going to tell you how to trade. That's 100% up to you. I'm absolutely interested on this name. I have been for a while, but I was interested here. But I also told you back in those days that you had to be careful with this resistance level, and it didn't break. So now I want to be careful again. That is my suggestion. Now you do whatever the hell you want. But the reality is that we are moving in a different fashion as far as what we're seeing on the 35 SMA. We are mounting this volume shelf. All of those things are positive. Another thing that is positive is that the MACD and the TSI are not looking bad at all. Now, by that time, if we get to this point, we get to 35, to this level at 35, things are going to look a little bit extended, especially on the RSI. So let's see if we can actually, take a little bit of a cool down, and instead of having moves like today's, which was a very nice move, 7.5, and instead of having these moves of almost 8%, maybe we move at a 1 or 2% pace, and see how we get to this point. I still, I'm very skeptical of this, and I'm going to believe more on this name once we cross 35.5. That's how I'm seeing this, and I think there's definitely opportunity, but I don't want to take a risk of getting anything here and then retesting this level and coming back into 26.92 or 20 or 27. That's my take on Celsius. Now let's move on to another name that I mentioned yesterday, and things didn't, or at least until now, they're not playing out the way I wanted or I was thinking, and that is EA. Now, one of the things that I said was there were two things that were at play, and you had to be careful with both. You have this move here to the upside. We hit 168, which was all-time highs, I believe. I could be wrong. Yes. And got, you got to this point, you came down towards 162, yes, 163, give or take. Now you moved back towards this area at 168, then you came down. So what I was saying yesterday is like, if we are retesting this level and continue going to the upside, there might be something going on. But you also had another situation here, which is a double top, and you have the MACD and the TSI and the RSI giving you bearish signals. You also have very low liquidity here. I said all this stuff yesterday, and now after hours, I don't know if there were news or something, the stock is down an additional 2.4%. So basically between what we got during trading hours and after hours, basically down 2%. We are right at this area at 160.7. So we're meeting that 35 SMA, which is something I said yesterday as well. Now we have to see if we're going to continue. Something that I said yesterday is that if we meet the 35 SMA, we're just going to cut it like nothing. I wouldn't be worried about it. I wouldn't take it as an area of support, even though, I mean, technically speaking, we can hope for it to be a point of support. Maybe that happens, who knows? But I think this is going to continue going down, and there is not a lot of resistance, or there is not a lot of, support in this area other than maybe 152. Let's put a horizontal ray and see a horizontal lane, and let's put it on this, on the top of this, and see where this is going to take us. Oh, okay, look at that. Wow, that was precise. Okay, so we are, your next area of support would be 152. That's worrisome. You have a little gap right here, and you have a very obvious gap of liquidity here. So this level right here of support at 160, what was it? 162 was a critical level. This, I think, in my opinion, you have a double top, which is one of my favorite setups. We were just talking about Celsius, and let me take you to Celsius if you don't remember what happened after the double top. Bada bing, bada boom, you went down. So, and I was playing this game, this ticker to the downside. So I think that EA right now, as it looks, as of right now, looks very precarious. You're right here on the 35 SMA. I think this is going to continue. Just look at the MACD and the TSI as you zoom out. They look bad. Anyways, we'll see what we get. I think this is just going to continue going down. My price target right now is 152. That is insane. I was really hoping for this to retest this level and continue. And as I said, I really want to trade more to the upside, which, I would say I'm kind of like 50-50 as far as trading to the upside or to the downside, but I want to go more to the upside. I find that it's easier to trade to the upside. But I think this is pretty obvious right here. It's pretty obvious right here. You're right under the neckline. You already are. Like, you close a day under the neckline right here. Now you're going to move towards 152. Anyways, that's what I have for EA. And let's move on to our friends. I'm going to mention these guys again. HIMS. And let me take a quick note on it. This level, there are some things, as I mentioned yesterday, that I'm liking about HIMS. The consolidation in this area is a good thing. At least today, it wasn't as volatile. Now, after hours, you're up 1.3%, which is not much. You're accumulating volume here, which is good, but you still have this gap right here, which is a little bit worrisome, but we'll see how we're behaving. MACD and TSI are cooling down, and not in a very dramatic fashion. That's also good. Now, as I said before, I would love this to go down towards 25.5 or even lower, so I can actually get a position. I'm very tempted to do it now, but I just want to see how we are behaving on this area of support. I'm thinking about buying September calls for HIMS and just let them ride. I do think that this is going to continue going to the upside. I just noticed something. I like this. and we'll see how that goes. But it's not looking bad in a technical level at all. MACD and TSI are definitely looking like, it is time to continue going down towards to 25.5, and we'll see if we get there. But I also like, as I mentioned before, the fact that we're consolidating volume right here. That's a good thing. Now, the best thing that could happen as far as seeing things more healthy for this name, even though this is looking much better, is coming down towards 25.5 and then boom, going back towards 35. That's what I have on HIMS. And now let's move on to another name that I also mentioned yesterday, and I had one of those setups that I normally go and look for them. So what I mentioned yesterday for this type of a candle setup that I like to play was Palo Alto, INOD, this ticket, EA, GEV, and ASAT. No, ASTS, I'm sorry. The ones that are out of display are INOD and EA. But we still have PON, and then we have GEV and ASTS. Now, similar to what I was talking about with EA, this broke support. You're also on the 35 SMA, and look at the MACD and the TSI. Not good. This is going to continue, in my opinion, going down. This was down 7% today. In my opinion, it's just gonna fill this gap, and then at that point, then we can think, okay, what comes next? We can actually reassess at that point, because this little candle right here was a prior all-time high as well. So we'll see what happens. I think definitely you have no liquidity here, so this is going to continue moving down. And then the MACD and the TSI are also telling you the same story. So keep that in mind. There's definitely opportunity here, opportunity on EA and INOD to actually go down and continue going down. So these are two short opportunities that that don't look bad at all. Again, I was hoping for this to come back from support into resistance and break resistance, but I also said it can break and then, you're just gonna dive into the next level of support. I think the next level of support, at least for now, is this area right here, in which you are at 25.3 pretty much. Now, I thought I was going to mention Palo Alto today, but I don't have Palo Alto today. But I do have another name that is intriguing, and that is Rocket Lab. And after I take this note, look at this. So today it was down 3.3%. Not so good. I was really hoping to have a green day today. You have this level of support at prior highs, which is at this week and at this candle right here, turning to support and still being support, and is consolidating here. Now, the problem that we have here, as the problem that we have on the other names that I mentioned, even though the setup is different, is that you have the MACD and the TSI and lack of volume, at least after 18 or 19, lack of volume that could actually suck you into these areas right here. But I love the fact that this is consolidating. It has momentum to the upside. It has lower volume, and I love that part. But it's a little bit concerning that you have the MACD and the TSI and the RSI having this type of divergence between the lines and the signal lines. You see them on the 3 indicators, and and the strength that the stock is gathering, especially you can see it on the TSI, on the divergence towards the downside. So be mindful of that. I think that this name is probably going to give us some nice surprises in the future. I think they have a couple of rocket launches going on for this month or something like that. I read something, but it was very vague. So we'll see. It tends to be explosive as well. It's been up almost 300% in the last 3 months. So a little bit of a pullback, doesn't sound bad, to be honest. But we'll see how this behaves. This level of support is critical at 22.5 or 22 point, what is it? Now I want to know. 22.5. Yeah. So I think if we break under that, it's gonna get difficult. But it might actually bring an opportunity to set some calls. I might probably, in this case, I'm very intrigued with this name. I think that we can probably get into, I don't know, August or September calls. I mean, at the least I will go June, nothing earlier than that, June 28th or something. But yeah, keep this name on your radar, and it might actually move to the upside. But right now, I hate to say it, the MACD and the TSI are indicating, and the RSI also are indicating um, a different tendency, even though the candle setup looks pretty nice. This looks nice. I mean, you can also argue this is a flag right here, right? I just like to put one line and one trend line and call it. So there's where we are. Okay, friends, I will see you tomorrow. I'll try my best to do another video tomorrow, so I don't have to do one or two on the weekend. And subscribe and like the content. Other than that, have a great night. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.